I think a prevailing theory currently out for Odd Taxi right now has been pretty much all but confirmed at this point. But yes, I just got done with the 8th episode of Odd Taxi, so let's jump into it. So for this episode of Odd Taxi, we kind of had mostly Odokawa meeting with Dobu. They talked about the situation at hand, what Dobu's plans were. Kind of got him to, record everything of his plan, including recorded Dobu speaking that he was working with the older Daimon, and he sent that off to the younger Daimon. So unless the older Daimon intercepts that message, they pretty much have gotten that word to the younger Daimon. So I'm guessing that's confirming that situation. The other key factor in this episode is they had, Dobu pretty much had him offer to sell to Yamamoto the footage that he wanted from the dash cam for 1 billion yen. And this seems to be all kind of tying together this poor fan that just got 1 billion yen, and apparently they're all going to be scrounging for his money. On Yano's side, he's going to possibly use that 1 billion yen in order to buy the footage, or at least rob him anyways. Dobu wants to rob him as well. It's just not a good situation. So, of course, Odokawa decides to go tell the boy, hey, look, you need to keep a hold of that check and don't cash it quite yet because you got a lot of people after you. Yeah, and of course, on the other side of this whole thing, we had Goriki pretty much trying to solve the situation with Odokawa. Why he is the way he is, and this focus really quickly turns into this synesthesia. I've never really heard this term before, but essentially it's this idea that your senses will replace with other senses. So if you hear something, you feel something, and he's thinking that there's something with Odokawa specifically with this one. And he meets up with Odokawa and he tries a couple of tests. One was this picture of Eiji's back at a party. One was a picture of a bird, one was just a text, and one was a picture of Shirakawa with a blindfold on, which obviously point out this is some kind of new kink. But essentially trying to narrow down how he sees people and how he's able to identify people. And like I said at the very beginning of this one, this is pretty much, at this point, seemed like they're all but confirming the theory that a lot of people have had, that I think I heard the theory on Nearly on Red, so I'll give him credit. Go check out Nearly on Red. I love his work. But essentially the theory is that Odokawa himself, possibly, the reason why we see animal people, like this entire show is all animal people, because this is what Odokawa sees. And at some point, they may reveal at some point that this is what Odokawa sees, and everybody else doesn't see that. And I think that was also kind of confirmed at the very end. They've only really mentioned animal people, like specific animals, twice in the show, and both times was the Calico Cat. And both times, I believe, was Odokawa. And it was the very end of this particular episode, he says the Calico Cat. And no, he said the Calico Cat when he was in the car with Yamamoto and the Calico Cat, or Shiho. And then he's like, what are you talking about? And it was like one of those points of like, he just said the Calico Cat, and this guy was like, what are you talking about? Again, it could be just him going, what do you mean by this Calico Cat? But I think it was really insinuating of which Calico Cat? Like, what are you talking about? And again, at the very end, when he remembers the Calico Cat, and was it Imai? I think it was Imai, said that, like, what? So again, it seems like it's all but confirming the fact that people look like animals is all in Arakawa's head, which I never really wanted to give it too much cred to this, just because it doesn't make sense that we see them as animals anywhere else. When Arakawa's not around, like say Goriki and Shirakawa's in the medical place, what do they see? We see them as an alpaca and a gorilla. But it does make sense, the idea you wouldn't want it to, transfer over to here and suddenly they look like real people. It would give up that mystery really quickly and all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense that we would see them as the animals still, even when Arakawa's not around. But it's an interesting idea, and it seems like I said, it seems like it's all but confirming that theory with this episode, and why he's able to, like, yeah, if you've seen the back of somebody's head when they're in a rave party or a party or bar, you wouldn't really know who it was. But since the fact that he sees it with, the little all these little unique features of an animal person, he's able to quickly realize who it is, even from the back. Nobody else could do that. But he's able to do that because he sees the exterior of an animal that is completely unique versus just a person's head that is very similar to everybody else's head and shape and everything. So it makes sense. And I think, like I said, I think it's all about confirming at this point. They did have Yamamoto was panicking this episode. He really wants to get that cam footage, and he said that, it was on the news the other day, so he obviously was in connection with this body that was dropped in the bay. And like I said before in the last episode, I was kind of theorizing that it was Arakawa that dumped the body, and that we were, pretty much being misled that he's this okay person. But then in the last episode, it really seemed like he had split personality happening. We didn't really get a sense of that in this episode, his split personality, but we did get a confirmation of it seems like Yamamoto is connected to, and maybe even Yano, is connected to this body being dumped, and obviously that footage has some kind of connection to that dumping of a body. So we'll see where that goes in the future. Yano, really nasty dude. They obviously found out that that Eiji was not a rich person. They mentioned that, it turns out he was just a janitor and he's been lying. So he has nothing to his name, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do with him. I think at some point Yano was mentioning the idea that, Nikaido's a cute girl. Maybe I should get her in my room naked. So obviously that might turn into a thing, which is kind of troubling because we know Nikaido is with Baba, and so she's in a relationship already. So it would kind of suck to see that kind of happen, but hopefully it doesn't happen. It did turn out that Kawasawa, even though he did catch footage of Dobu beating the crap out of some person, apparently Arakawa was not in that shot. We were kind of expecting him to be a part of that shot, but apparently he didn't get in it, so he doesn't know that Arakawa was there. Nobody knows that Arakawa was there, so that at least didn't incriminate him. Yeah, and then I think the only other thing we had in this episode really was Shiho trying to get out of the badgering business, and they didn't show what happened to her. In the earlier segment, she apparently had to talk to Yano about it to get out of it. And as Eiji was trying to, are they forcing you to do something? Are you okay? She's like, dude, are you serious? I don't want anything to do with you. That's why I'm trying to stop, being a part of this. It's because I was sick of working with you. I'm sure she was probably, half of that was her lying just to get him to stop. And half of it, I think, is, honestly, she doesn't want to have anything to do with it. I don't think she hates him and was disgusted by him, but she just didn't want to have anything to do with the whole system. So, but it didn't really show what happened to her after that. And so it's kind of troubling. I mean, the fact that she had to go to the Bay Harbor place itself, talk to this really bad person and get out of it, obviously wasn't going to end well with her. And to not have any clue of what happened to her after that scene, it's a little bit worrying. Hopefully the idea that she is a part of this group with Yamamoto, hopefully that kept her from getting harmed, but we don't know how far this show's going. I mean, obviously it's going to go far as murder because we do have one murder already. It's not quite sure exactly how dark they're going to get with this show. Yeah, Nikaido, Yano's comment about Nikaido, Shiho coming there to basically say that she doesn't want to be a part of what they're doing, which obviously she's already accessory of it. It's not like they're going to let her walk out. There's a lot of question marks up there as how dark this is going to get, and it's already kind of hinting at a lot of dark stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much this episode. A lot of things kind of being built up. Shiho, what happened to Shiho? What's going to happen to Nikaido? Is he going to turn Dobu in? Obviously, did Daimon's younger brother get a hold of that message? What's going to happen to Eiji? It seems like they're still deciding what they want to do with him. Forced him to call his mom, which is kind of disturbing. Yeah, and of course, this poor guy that's going to get $1 billion and everybody wants it, or 1 billion yen and everybody wants it. A lot of stuff kind of building up for this. And again, the theory on it, everything's being in Arakawa's head, them being animal people. Let me know down in the comments if that's something that you've heard before, if it's something you want to confirm at this point, or or not really want to confirm. It's an original series. If you agree with or disagree with that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a like down below, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video if you can, and I hope you all enjoyed, and y'all take care.